This video provides a very brief overview of the steps required to obtain access to data using the NCI Data Commons Framework services. Following a brief introduction to the National Cancer Institute's Cancer Research Data Commons, or CRDC, and the NCI's Data Commons Framework Services, or DCFS, I'll walk through the steps required to obtain access to data, including identifying datasets of interest, authentication and API keys, accessing the data using NCI DCFS, accessing the data using cloud resources, and accessing the data by linking to NCI DCFS. The Cancer Research Data Commons, or CRDC, is a virtual, expandable infrastructure that provides secure access to data from NCI programs such as the Cancer Genome Atlas, or TCGA, its pediatric counterpart, Target, and the Clinical Proteomics Tumor Analysis Consortium, or CPTAC. The Data Commons Framework is a collection of modular core services that provide functions required across all CRDC data resources. The Data Commons Framework Services, or DCFS, are modules of the Gen3 software stack, developed and operated by the University of Chicago's Center for Translational Data Science. These services include a data file indexing service that mints unique permanent digital IDs for files, authentication and authorization services for providing secure access to data, and open APIs for interoperability and integration of diverse third-party applications. The DCFS supports the core values of the CRDC by providing services that make data fair, or findable, accessible, interoperable, and reusable. There are 3 ways you can access the data in a CRDC resource: through direct request to the DCFS open APIs, by linking third-party services or web applications to the DCFS via its open APIs, or through cloud resources. The first step in accessing a data file from a CRDC resource is to obtain the file's ID, which is a universally or globally unique identifier, known as a UUID or GUID. For example, a GET request can be sent from the command line to the Genomic Data Commons file's API endpoint to obtain all the file IDs associated with a particular disease type, like lung cancer. The GDC API responds with a TSV file containing the file IDs that are used for file retrieval. Alternatively, the same request can be sent and processed all within a standard web browser via the GDC's data portal, which provides a graphical user interface for filtering files based on various metadata elements. Notably, the tools in the GDC's web-based data portal utilize the same open APIs that any third party could use for development of custom applications. To securely obtain the files using their IDs, users must authenticate using credentials that specify authorization to access various projects. For example, the DCFS Authentication Service allows users authorized by dbGaP to access the controlled TCGA data. When authenticating via the data portal in a web browser, users simply enter their NIH credentials when prompted. While logged in, users remain authenticated and can freely download files discovered via the Exploration app, which offers faceted search based on file metadata. Alternatively, when accessing data objects programmatically, an API key can be used to retrieve a temporary access token, which provides authorization when sent in the header of an API request. Users can generate and download API keys after logging into the data resources web portal. When an attempt is made to access a controlled data object in a CRDC resource, the DCFS Authentication Service confirms the user's identity and checks the user's access privileges against those listed in the file's index record. If the user is authorized, the DCFS Authentication Service generates a temporary, pre-signed URL that is used for the data transfer. This is achieved via the User Data Download endpoint. Optionally, you can request a specific storage location to create a signed URL for Amazon Web Services S3 storage or Google Cloud Platform storage by providing a protocol query parameter. NCI DCFS supports the Global Alliance for Genomics and Health efforts to establish the Data Repository Service API for a generic interface to data repositories so data consumers, including workflow systems, can access data in a single, standard way, regardless of where it's stored and how it's managed. DCFS provides an interface to access data according to the Data Repository Standards, or DRS. Here, you see the ways to access data objects with DRS API. Alternatively, you can use one of the 3 cloud resources to access the data of interest from within their resource. Here you see links to the cloud resources. Please check their websites to get more information. It is possible for the user to give permission to a third-party service to act on their behalf to access data in the DCF. The DCF implements OpenID Connect as the standard method for operating with third-party services. Third-party services need to receive client credentials and implement the defined OpenID Connect flow, wherein a user will authenticate and consent to third-party services acting on their behalf. The third-party service will then receive tokens for interacting with DCFS APIs. Thank you for listening to this Tech Talk featuring a brief introduction to data access with NCI DCFS. Be sure to check out our other videos where you'll find details about our other services that power Data Commons.